Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, could you just type in the chat? Yes, I can hear you. Okay, so most of you are saying I can hear you. Somebody said no sound yet. So if you're not hearing any sound, you might want to check your speakers and make sure that they are working. And I think I'm ready to go. Hi, everybody. This is Karen. I know you all know who I am. I'm going to be holding, like I said, welcome to the webinar Wednesdays. I'm going to be trying to hold these webinars on a bi-monthly basis because I am moving so many people over to Zoho, and there have been so many questions, and so many of the questions are the same exact questions. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat, and I will be answering them as soon as I can. I'm not sending out a recording of this particular webinar because there is some proprietary stuff in here that I really don't want to share. So if I show some slides that I found, I'll share the websites with you, and you could do your own research. Of course, if you anytime you have questions, just feel free to reach out. So first thing I want to know, and I'm not going to belabor this too long, but I just want you to know kind of the financial health of ACT versus Zoho. ACT is having some struggles with consistent updates. Those of you that have had the challenges of upgrading your software, know that a lot of times the upgrades have a lot of bugs in them. They may take you 3 or 4 service patches. You may reach out to me and I say, hey, don't upgrade yet. It's been a constant struggle. CRM is, Zoho CRM is a little bit more stable. They're more focused on research and development than bug fixes, and they've got a extremely strong financial background. So 3 things to know about ACT. They're having a huge reduction of partner channel and employees. I didn't see this, but one of my clients yesterday said they did a search on one of the websites and they're down to 37 employees. I'm not sure what that exact number is, but they've definitely been reducing their services. If you're using, if you were using the click to dial, that's on. If you were using anything, the ACT Connect piece to connect you to either their phone app or Zapier or even AMA, that's gone. And they're having another price increase. They've been slowly increasing their prices over the year. They're having another one effective January 1st. So if you're on the desktop version, you'll be paying $468. They're also charging you tax. So when you get your bill from them, you might have a bit of a sticker shock because they are adding tax on for some reason. Okay, 3 things to know about Zoho. There's a continual growth as far as consultants and employees. I think they're up to, don't quote me here, that's why I didn't want to send out slides. I think they're over 15,000 employees at the moment. Don't have an exact number. They add new features, not yearly, not by version, but monthly, and they are just built out. They actually do kind of a cool thing as far as new features are going. Sometimes people don't want the new features. You can sign up for their early release program, which means if they come up with a new feature, you're the first to have it. Some people like to be on the cutting edge. Some people say, nope, I want to wait until it's been used. But they give you that option, which is kind of cool. Their prices are lower across the board than ACT's, and they really have increases. The last increase they had was a number of years ago. And I think it was, I think less than $10 for the highest level version. Very small, minor increases in price. Okay, this is just some things. I want you to do your own research. I don't want you to take my word for anything. I want you to do your own research. On the left is something that I had from back of the year 2022. They had 704 employees. I did something on Zoom Info, and Zoom Info was showing that they had 214 as of the years in here somewhere. I think it was 2022, and then they announced another cutback of 106 employees. So 106 minus 214 leaves us about 200 or 100 employees. And like I said, this is as of a couple of years ago. Zoho. Their revenue is over $1 billion US. Their net income is 340, and that was for the year 23. Probably higher, going to be much higher than that for the year 24. And their number of employees in 2023 was 15,000. I couldn't find a number for their exact number of employees as of today. Okay, new features in the last 2 years. ACT has had some minor updates, which are mostly bug fixes. Zoho has had several major features. Most of them are going around AI. They're doing a lot with the AI and being able to go in and create reports using AI and doing all kinds of fun things. And again, you can look at this website and they will look up either product and they'll tell you some of this information. New features in the last 2 years in ACT. They added some new font colors. It was exciting, and a few new dashboards. They removed a couple of their features. And again, you could look that up right on this, on the Zoho CRM has added, they literally add new features every single month. And you can look at kb.act.com to see what the new features are in ACT or what they've taken away. And you can look at zoho.com, new release notes, and they'll tell you all their new features. Customer reviews, people, like ACT because it's simple, but they criticize it because it's outdated. They have an overall, according to Trustpilot, rating of 3.5 out of 5. Zoho CRM has a 4.8 out of 5, which is a bit higher. It's known for ease of use, comprehensive features, excellent support, and they have a lot of customer loyalty. So why convert from ACT to Zoho? Well, those are kind of your reasons right there. But I will tell you, I've got a very streamlined process. You're not going to lose any data. You're going to get more functionality in Zoho, and you're going to have a lot of advanced customization opportunities. Okay, so I've got this down to rocket science, and this is the way it works. Y'all send me a backup of your database, and I analyze it. We talk about it because you might have some data in there that you just don't need to bring over to Zoho. I convert you over to Zoho, and then you learn the new features. Now, do you need to learn all the new features overnight? No, you probably didn't learn all of ACT overnight. Okay, the top 4 questions I get. First, Zoho pricing. So the ACT Cloud is $360 per tax per year per user. ACT Desktop is $468 plus tax per user per year. Zoho has prices ranging from $168 to $444 per user. They do not charge sales tax. People always say, which one do you need? Just reach out to me and I'll ask you a couple questions. The number one thing I look at is the number of features you'd like to have, the number of customized fields you have in your database, and if you have any e-marketing requirements. The time frame, I can convert your data over a weekend. It's a very quick process. Your layouts is the number one question. People need to have those layouts. They need to have that exact layout they've had, and we're going to talk about those in a minute. Conversion costs. The conversions usually start at $300, and you'll receive a written quote. I can't give you a quote without seeing your database. I need to know how many fields you have in there, how many notes you have in there, how many histories, and then we discuss it. We discuss what data you want to bring. Everybody says, oh, I want all the data, and sometimes your data includes things like field deleted in 2000, or I'm sorry, contact deleted in 2016, or field changed in 2004, which you probably need like a hole in the head. So I like to go over all the things that you have and see if there's anything that you can live without. A lot of times you have fields that you haven't been using, and you can pay me to bring over those fields. I give you an analysis of how often you've used each field. If you're not using the field, or if you haven't used a field in a long time, you can pay me to bring it over, or you can save some money. Totally up to you. And again, if you have any questions, please type them in. I'll be looking at the questions from time to time. Okay, customization options. With ACT, they're fairly basic. With Zoho CRM, we have a lot of extensions. We have workflow. We have third-party integrations. Some of the integrations are free in Zoho. Some of them cost money. I can tell you any of the customizations in ACT will cost you money. You want to add custom tables, $120 a user a year in ACT. You want to add more e-marketing, they'll charge you. You want to add phone integration, yeah, you're going to pay for that. So everything is kind of a la carte in ACT. Whereas in Zoho, and particularly in Zoho 1, they include everything as part of the software. And that's why I want to make sure you get in the plan that's going to give you what you need. Okay, this is giving you an example in ACT. You go up to Tools and you go to Preferences, and there are your customization options. You also have your Define Field, your Layout area. You can design dashboards, and you can manage your users, and that's about it. This one down here, ACT Scheduler, if any of you are using the ACT Scheduler, that's something else that was taken away. They used to have Smart Tasks and ACT. That was taken away. Some of you have moved to the ACT web version and you're using Smart Tasks, or I'm sorry, ACT Scheduler. That's not in the web version. It's also not in the synchronized version. This is the Zoho customization panel, and there's a lot. And I'm not expecting you to learn it all overnight. That's kind of what I'm here for. But you can see just in the customizations area, modules and fields, which is probably the big one you'd want to use at first. Pipelines to fix your pipeline. As far as your fields and your layouts, it's a little different. In ACT, we needed to create a field, and then we needed to plunk it down inside of a layout. If we edited a field, we changed the name, we need to edit it in the layout. In Zoho, it's kind of a one-shot deal. When you edit a field, you add a field, automatically goes onto your layout, automatically makes a change in your layout. Just a small difference. There's a lot of areas in Zoho, and that's why I want to keep running these webinars, because there's just too much for me to explain over 1 hour. There's just so many things. Here's one that I use all the time. You don't have to use it. That's one I love. If you add a contact and their email address has a URL, that means it's not a Gmail address or a Yahoo address or anything like that. You can go up, there's a little ellipsis on the top right of the screen, and you can hit enrich data. This takes about 2 seconds. Click, click. If they have, like in this one, techvendors.com, it will go out, it will find a secondary email, it will find a phone number, it will find a website, it will find an industry. You can check which ones of these fields you want to update. You can update it. Done. Do you have to use that feature? No. And if I scroll down here farther, you'd see address information as well. It's something that I use all the time. Just a cool feature. Don't have to learn it, don't have to use it, but it's cool. I want to introduce you to a different vocabulary. And any feature, anything that we have in ACT, we also have in Zoho. It just might be lurking under a different name. So some of you might be surprised to know that in ACT, there is no field called contact name. And I know you're all going to say, no, Karen, you're wrong. I can see in my database, it says contact, and I have Joe Smith, and I have a contact name. No, you do not. That contact name actually consists of a first, middle, and last name. A lot of people don't realize that. So they put down the contact name as Sue, and ACT automatically calls it a last name. Don't ask me. It's done it that way for 25 years. That's what it does. In Zoho, we have a first and a last name, and it ties it into a contact name the same way. They do not have a middle name. I personally think that's a good idea, because if someone's name is Sue Ellen Smith, I don't think Ellen is really her middle name. Usually contacts do not give us their middle names. So I would probably call her first name Sue Ellen and her last name Smith. If you need that middle initial, maybe you're writing formal letters or contracts, we can add a middle name field, but will not become a part of that main contact name. Record manager. In ACT, we have record manager. It's used for the person who put in the note. It's used for the person who adds a new contact. It's put in for the person who is theoretically owns a contact or owns an opportunity or owns a company. In Zoho, it's a little bit more granular. So they'll have a contact owner, a lead owner, a deal owner. It makes it a heck of a lot easier if you're creating reports to be able to have a specific owner tied back to a note or a contact, rather than just having it a record manager like it is everywhere in ACT. Personal email. We have in Zoho secondary email. So usually when I convert your database, I use that field. But if you don't want to call it secondary email, you're tied to personal email, I can change it. We don't have ID status. In fact, probably 75% of the ACT users have no idea what ID status means. It's been around again for 30 some years. In Zoho, we have something called type. But if you don't like type, I can rename it ID status, or you can rename it ID status. Referred by. Again, a lot of people didn't know what that was. It was called source of referral. A lot of people didn't use the referred by field. They created their own field because they didn't know what referred by meant. In Zoho, they call it lead source or contact source. But again, if you're used to calling it referred by, or you want to call it source of referral, it can be changed. In ACT, they called it a company name. We had a company field and we had company records, and it confused people. In Zoho, they call it account. But again, we can change it. Opportunities in ACT, they call deals in Zoho. Again, we can change it. A lookup, which it literally came from the inception of ACT. I want to look up a contact. I want to look up someone's phone number. In modern times, we call that a query. Just so you don't look for the word lookup, you'll see the word query. We have layouts in ACT. In Zoho, we have both layouts and canvases, and I'll be showing you those in a minute. Please, if you have any questions, I'm not seeing a lot. I know I'm hitting you with a lot of information. If you have any questions, okay, I see somebody asked, does Zoho work on Apple devices, computers, and iOS? What? You use an Apple? You use an Apple machine? Yes, absolutely, because Zoho is 100% cloud-based. So it will work on the Safari browser. If you use Chrome on your Apple device, yes, absolutely. Okay, so y'all know that I kind of started, I got my claim to fame by writing dummies books. I've written 14 of them. So I don't know if this is a word. If it's not, go ahead and correct me. But sometimes the first thing I do is I start by dumbing down Zoho. Sometimes I do this just for the users and I leave it kind of a little bit smarter for the administrators. So when you first go into Zoho, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, there's too much to see and it's overwhelming. So if you look at big difference in ACT, we have these things going vertically down the left side of the screen. Sales inbox. We don't have sales inbox in ACT, but we have we don't have leads, but we have companies, we have contacts, we have opportunities, we have tasks, we have a calendar, we have reports, we have dashboards. That all goes down the left-hand side of the screen. In Zoho, it goes across the top. And we have a ton more than what ACT has. So some people say, it's too much. It's too much. I don't want to look at all that stuff. I don't want to look at sales inbox. I don't know what that means. And I don't want to work with some of these calls, meetings, and deals. I don't do that. So we can go in and we can create a custom tab. And yes, each user can have a custom tab. So they only see the areas of Zoho that they look at. In the same way, when we look at a contact record, we have a related list that goes down the left-hand side of the screen. And ACT, that's the stuff that goes along the middle of your ACT screen, your notes, your histories, your attachments. Same exact thing. You can go up to that related list. There's a little icon, and you click that little icon, and you check off the areas you want to see. So you can take it from this down to this. So you only see what you need to see. That's what I call dumbing down. Virtually any part of Zoho can be changed. For example, out of the box, they have a leads module. They have an accounts module. They have a contacts module. They have a deals module. Forgot my little red circle there, sorry. We could rename them into prospects, hospitals, customers, apps. You name it, we can redo it. Whatever you want, we can do. And it's not easy. When I say we can do it, I can show you how to do it. It's easy. Biggest complaint, and I've got somebody on board here that I'm going to both laugh at and be very, 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 very proud about. People want their layouts. Honestly, folks, I don't know why. Some of your layouts are really not very good looking, in my humble opinion. This is typically what I see with the layouts. They're all different size fields. They don't line up. They don't really line up horizontally. They don't line up vertically. They're kind of a mess. Now, this, and Missy, would you do me a favor? And I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you. How long did we spend yesterday in our quote unquote layout training? Missy, you there? You, I'll answer for, oh, she said about 15 minutes. I was going to say that's being generous. I was literally on my way out to another appointment and she needed help with her layouts. So we went into the layouts and we spent, she says 15 minutes. I think that's being generous. I think maybe it was 10 or 11 at the most. It was definitely a speed course in layouts. And this morning I was doing a little work on her database and I came across her layout. I said, holy guacamole. My goodness, what she did. And that was like with just a few minutes of training. She went from this lovely yellow thing to this over here with little sections that she, they all line up and they're organized and it looks nice. And I was just like, holy, I won't say the word, it wasn't guacamole, but she really did a good job with very little training. Good job, Missy. Okay, I know you need your layout. Every time somebody signs up with Zoho, I need you to do it through me because I've got a very specific way I sign you up. I put in some sample data because it's much easier to look at a demo with some data in there, and I can easily remove the data. I also give you some layouts so that you can, this layout, I was not original. I just took one of the out-of-the-box ACT layouts. The only thing I did was change the color, kind of copied it, and I made it out-of-the-box ACT layout. But it's something that's a jump-off point for you. I also put this one in so you could get an idea of the other things you can do with layouts. And actually, I keep calling these layouts, these are actually what we call canvases, because in Zoho, we have both layouts and canvases. Someone asked, did Zoho integrate with Outlook? I can't answer that question because there's not an answer. Does Zoho integrate with Outlook? I don't know if you mean, do Zoho contacts integrate with Outlook contacts? Does the Zoho calendar integrate with the Outlook calendar? Or does the Zoho email history integrate to the Outlook email history? There's 3 parts of Outlook. So I can't give you a simple yes, but I will yes to all 3. Now, when you're talking about layouts, you might consider something that we call a canvas. What Missy created in the previous screenshot here, this is actually a canvas. It's not a layout, it's a canvas. And these here are canvases. These 2 over here are canvases. And these are canvases. I wish I could take credit for them. I am the most unartistic person in the universe. I'm very, very good with data. I'm very, very good with black and white. My artistic abilities could fit into my little finger, if that. These are both created by customers of mine. They wanted this kind of layout. And when I compare that to what we saw over here on the left, I don't think there's much comparison. These are really cool. Now, you also have a home dashboard when you first log into Zoho, and it's totally customizable. And this is an example of a home dashboard that one of my clients made with, all these little sales charts and how well they're hitting the sales charts and what's going on today and what they have to do today and all kinds of stuff. And I mean, it's like the sky's the limit. Note to you and to moi, please be patient. Many of you have spent 10 to 20 years creating your database. It might take me a while to reproduce it. It might take me a while till we get everything just the way you want. I usually take your data, get it in there over the weekend so you can have it and you can start working on it. But when you want to start making it your own, just remember, you didn't create ACT in a single day. You've been working on it for a while, and it's going to take me a little while to get your changes in there. Oh, Louise just said, go Missy. Louise, does that mean Missy gets a raise? Just curious. Sorry about that. I had to ask. What are the differences between layouts and canvases? Let me see if I have a layout. If I don't, I do. Here's a layout. So here's a layout. It's more of that kind of Salesforce type of look. This is what you get out of the box. It's just having the fields, and you can make little sections. So you could, like I have here, contact information, and I could put little labels here. So you can group it, but it's just kind of like the out of the box. It's not as graphic as something like these. So these are really easy because when you create your fields, you usually do it in the standard layout, and it's just drag and drop. You just move them around or take them off the layout if you don't want them. Okay. So another thing, Zoho doesn't have groups. Oh my God, the world is going to fall to an end as we know it. They don't have groups, but they have something called a custom view. And I like to think of a custom view as a dynamic group on steroids. A dynamic group is based on a query. A custom view is based on both a query and a set of customized fields in the order that you want them for your contact list. So when you did a dynamic group and you wanted to see it, you had to do a right click on the group, you had to do a lookup, and then you might want to customize your columns because maybe you want to see the email address, so you didn't want to see the phone number, you needed to see the city and the state. When we make custom views, and they're right up here. You don't have to go into groups and look for groups. They'll be right here. You can have a drop down. You can mark some as favorites so they go up to the top of the list. When you go into one of your custom views, you have both the criteria, and this is almost identical to the language that we have in the dynamic groups, but you can also pick what fields in the order of the fields, because this, if you've ever gone into your contact layout in ACT and you do a right click and you customize it and you change the fields around, this looks pretty much exactly like this does, except you can drag and drop, where it's an ACT, they had that stupid move up button and you might have to move a field up like 20 spaces. Here you can drag and drop and just order your columns. So it has custom views. We don't have static groups, but we do have saved filters and tags. So if you're doing it down and dirty, we have a field called tag. Throw in whatever you want, and then you can go over here and do a saved filter just based on that tag group and say, okay, find everything that has RTG in the tag, or everything that has bounced in the tag, or everything that has subscriptions in the tag. So you can use that tag field as a replacement for your static groups that you just kind of, oh, I just found this guy, I'm going to throw him in my Christmas card group. If any of you that know me know that I hated static groups, but if you need them, we can help you with them. And when I convert your data, I literally create a group field with the name of all the groups that a contact belongs to. So if you want to keep using this field, you may keep using this field, and you could do a query on this field. Oh, I can't find my, oh my gosh, do I really have to read this? My CF24 from Chapman, CF May, August, unknown for CF404 group. Yeah, you could just go in and do a query on it, and you'll find all the people in that group. Automations. ACT has a very rich and long history of failed automation strategies. They have the activity series, which was kind of their first one, which no longer works in a cloud or a remote synchronization environment. Had a number of people that love their activity series, and they were cool, but they're not going to be cool when you move to the ACT cloud. They had the ACT timeline. This was a great feature. You might remember a little timeline tab, and someone had the great idea that they were going to put 20 years worth of history on one of your little tabs. And of course, it was so scrunched up, you couldn't see it. Then we had calculated fields. If you ever worked with calculated fields, you know that they didn't calculate very well. And then we had smart tasks. And again, if you look up on the ACT.com website, kb.act.com, and look for new features, you're going to see, oh, we removed some of those features because they didn't work and no one used them, like the ACT dialer and smart tasks. And of course, I love this one. E-commerce connections are now supported by Zapier. Yeah, but Zapier won't work if you have a desktop program. Just saying. And of course, ACT does add lots of bug fixes to each new release that they have, and those are always fun. Okay, reports. This is the history of reports, and I know the history of reports in ACT, and I know the history because I had an employee, some of you might have worked with him, Roy Lonslager. He was the god of ACT reports. Unfortunately, Roy passed away a couple of years ago. He was the only person in the world that knew the ACT report writer. And we literally, when we moved into the ACT 2005 version, from the DBF version to the SQL version, ACT didn't know how to fix the reports. So we actually created some new reports in 2010. They're the only new reports that have been added to ACT in probably the last 25 years. And I created them, and Rory actually made them, and I designed them. In 2012, people were complaining because a lot of those reports in ACT had blank lines and spaces and all kinds of craziness. We fixed that. ACT actually paid us to fix it because they didn't know how to fix it themselves. True story. The ACT reports are based on something called Component 1. When ACT purchased Component 1, they cheaped out. They went with a very low version. And that's why if you try to create reports, you can only use two tables in one report. So if people ask me, hey, I want a report that shows notes, contacts, and opportunities. That's 3 tables. Can't do it. Can only do 2. Doesn't matter what you do. Can only do 2. It requires that we have VBS scripting, or you can buy something like Crystal Reports. There's a couple of vendors that have report programs you can buy. But again, you're not going to do it out of the box. With Zoho, they include 16 reports and 11 dashboard categories. Each one has 6 to 12 items in it, and they're all 100% customizable. In addition, we have something called Zoho Analytics. Zoho Analytics can be tied to most any data source. I literally have a couple of clients that I have tied their ACT database to Zoho Analytics because Zoho Analytics can read SQL, and I've created new ACT reports for them using Zoho Analytics. Go figure. But this comes with the Zoho 1 version if you need custom-made reports. Can I add group notes and have them an individual client? You really didn't have group notes in ACT. Those group notes were really tied to your contacts. So if you do need something, if you do need a group for a very special reason, we could make a custom table, and then you could add notes just to those specific groups. But we can talk about that offline. E-marketing automation. ACT in a basic program includes 2,500 templated e-marketing sends per month. Zoho 1 includes 1,000 a day. So I think that's 2,500 versus, what am I looking at? 30,000, a little bit of a difference. Then if you want to go to marketing automation, ACT charges $948 if you want to go to the campaigns, and that'll give you 25,000 per month. You can up that limit if you need to. Zoho 1 includes 100,000 per month, and it's included for free as part of Zoho 1. So you pay $948 for 25,000, or you could be free and have 100,000. Custom tables, they're free in Zoho. Which the person was just asking me about groups. George, I'd have to see what exactly you were using your groups for. But we can create custom tables. They're free in Zoho. In ACT, they're $120 a user a year. Custom tables are great for anything that's recurring, things that you need to count, like maybe you're a manufacturer and you're counting serial numbers, or you're scanning in parts, or you're counting insurance policies or assets or mortgages. Custom tables are very popular with loan officers, financial advisors, medical practices, real estate brokers, car dealerships. So, for example, a real estate agent might have a property and they want to tie it to all the people that have seen that property. Or car dealerships may want to see all the vehicles that a certain contact leases. That's kind of a typical uses for custom tables, but they are free. They're a free part of Zoho. Integrations and scalability. ACT had Zapier, or they had Zapier, but you need to be, they did not invest in the highest level of Zapier support. So I had people that would say to me, I want to use Calendly or LinkedIn with ACT. So they get Zapier, they pay for Zapier, they'd go into Zapier and they'd go, but it doesn't let me do this. It doesn't let me do that. Yeah, because ACT only lets you have a very limited usage of Zapier. And again, if you're on the desktop version, that's going away on December 31st. We also have an ACT, a proprietary API. There are very few programmers in this universe that understand that language and can program. I don't think anybody at ACT really knows how to do it. I know 2 programmers worldwide out of all my contacts, and they are pricey because they are busy. And they probably won't get you right away. Very hard to custom program into ACT. With Zoho, we have extensions. There are literally thousands of extensions. You want to work with Calendly? There's an extension. You want to work with LinkedIn? There's an extension. They also use something called Open or REST API. There are thousands of programmers. I work with quite a few that can do miracles. Usually I do very little custom programming into Zoho, but there's always somebody that has something special they want to add. And I had somebody, I don't know if my friend Steve is on the line, but the other day he saw something. He goes, wait a minute, if we could have it do this and then that would probably save us a couple of hours a day. And I said, hey, doesn't come out of the box, but it'd be a really easy thing to program. So sky's the limit as far as programmers. Oops. Cell phone apps. Again, ACT has a very long history of failed cell phone apps. We had the ACT mobile app. It had very limited functionality. Then they went to ACT Companion, not Companion Link, but ACT Companion. That was really fun because it didn't keep you logged in, and you had to type in the URL along with your username and your password. And your username and your password might be different than the username and password that you had in your actual ACT database. It was fun. Most of my clients gave up because they could never get logged into it. Recently, within the last 6 months, they came out with ACT Premium Mobile. Does look like it's going to work better. They just last week added the ability to save your passwords. You don't have to type it in every time. So they are adding lots of new features like having a password that works. Zoho, I would invite you, it uses the same username and password as what you have in Zoho. So go into the Google Store or the Apple Store. Just look for Zoho. They've got tons of different apps. They've got one of them is like a little card scanner. I don't know if anybody still uses business cards, but you can literally scan business cards and it'll automatically put into Zoho. But they have their Zoho CRM app. I was just in London for 10 days, used it all the time. You can also use that app on your tablets. So even if you're in a trial, go and try it. So, I'm not clever enough to have a little trial of the phone apps to show you, but try it yourself. If you don't have a demo of demo of Zoho, reach out and I'll get one set up for you. Office phone integration. With ACT, we used to have a phone dialer. Click to dial. You click a little icon that was next to someone's name, and it would dial the number. That was removed. That's no longer there. I do know that Nextiva, I used Nextiva for a couple of years. They do have a really good app. It'll cost you an extra $5 per user per month. And it does let you have that screen pop on an incoming call and ACT and let you dial out. There are also third-party add-ons that you can purchase that you can link your phone system to ACT. But again, if something goes wrong, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing. The Your phone company is going to going to blame the third-party app. Third-party app is going to blame the phone company. The phone company is going to blame ACT. ACT is going to blame your phone provider. Lots of finger pointings in there. I just looked this up the other day. It's probably, if I look it up today, it's more. But the latest search that I show had 230 phone companies that are integrating with Zoho. I can show you how to get to the marketplace, and you can look it up and see if your phone number is in there. I just typed in telephony. There's probably something more clever I could have typed in besides telephony. I might have just typed in Ring Central or 8x8. They're all in there. All the major ones are in there. Learning the product, learning about ACT, we had kb.act.com, and that's always fun because they don't have the bandwidth anymore to keep up with their KB articles. So sometimes the latest ones are not in there. Sometimes you'll get ones that haven't worked since ACT 2021 or ACT 2022. There used to be some really great community boards out there. In fact, Roy, my employee, used to be the #1 contributor to those boards. Unfortunately, because of the high levels of complaints about the ACT product, they took those community boards down a couple of years ago. You can go to this website, and there are some training videos on ACT, and they are pretty good. I will give them that. They are pretty good training videos. Ways to learn about Zoho. You can go to zoho.com/CRM resources. There's community boards. There's documentation sites. Oh, they have groups in LinkedIn. They have groups on Facebook. They do Zoho trainings, both local and online. Some of them are free. Some of them, the local trainings, they charge you for. They have Zoho sponsored meetup groups in all the major cities. There are Zoho training videos. There's tons of stuff in YouTube, tons of stuff in Google. Lots of ways you can learn more about Zoho. I always say Google is your friend. With support, I'm not going to give, big, kudos to either support. ACT is phone only. They do have chat and email support. They will never, ever answer. If you want enhanced support, which means they'll remotely take care, hop on your machine. I just had a client that paid for that last week, and they wanted help on creating an envelope template. And they were told, oh, sorry, we don't know how to do that. So yeah, their support is not always great, even if you get the enhanced support. Zoho has phone, remote, and chat. And I'm not going to say that when you have free support that they're always lickety split. Sometimes it depends on when you call, how quickly you get through. I got to be honest. There's an easy way for you to access all the numbers. With ACT, if you're going to call, you need your account number and you need the phone number. With Zoho, if you just click your profile number, it tells you your user ID, that's your account number, and it also will give you the phone number. If you just hit talk with us and you click that, it'll give you the phone number. It also shows you how to get to some of these videos and documentation and training that I showed you about or talked about before. You can turn on the chat. That might be the quickest way to get in touch with somebody. It's probably the one that I use the most is the chat. You can send them emails. They will write back. Sometimes it takes a while. You can buy enhanced support. Let's see, 120 and 36. So they charge you about 30% of the price of your license for the ACT support. They charge you 20% of the price of your license for the enhanced support. Basically, what the enhanced support is with Zoho is they give you weekend support and they give you supposedly faster response time. I will continue to answer all your email questions free of charge, like I always have. I'm not going to be able to help you with ACT as I have in the past. They're taking all those services. They're getting rid of all their outside consultants like myself. I'm not going to be able to help you with your billing questions and all those, and your installation questions and your license numbers and clearing out your activations if you installed it too many times and all those things that I could do for you before. By the way, because it's all online, I ask that you give me your password credentials if you're going to want my help. So I literally have about 100 clients that are in Zoho right now, and I type in their email. This is my password key, and I can log into your system. I don't have to find a time when we're both available. I don't have to have you remotely log in, into either use your Teams or your Zoom or my Zoho meetings or whatever we're going to use, go to meeting, whatever, log on and wait for that to happen and download software. I can just hop on your machine and make a change. And again, I'm picking on Missy. This is Pick on Missy Day, but she had a field and she wanted something changed on it. We didn't have to get together. I just went in and I put the field information back in, done. So it makes it really quick for me to be able to help you. And again, I'm going to answer those questions free of charge. I'm not going to answer huge questions that take me, miles and miles of writing or thousands and thousands of words. But your basic questions, I'm going to tell you where you go and how you get it answered. So the next step, if you're interested, I want you to make sure you reach out for me first. Please don't sign up for a trial before you contact me. If you sign up for the trial, particularly if you use your official domain, it's going to be hard for me to get you that 3-month free offer. It's going to be hard for me to set up a customized demo account for you and to move over some of the customizations that I want to do. There's one shot, and I don't know why, to be able to add demo information. And if you miss it, you didn't see it, I lose that shot. So that's why I like to, just have me take care of it for you. Just tell me you want a demo and I'll, send you a link and I'll tell you what to do. And, we're off like a herd of turtles. So questions. Again, I'm going to be running these webinars. I'm going to try to keep them as short as possible. I think the next one, I know in 2 weeks, it will be Christmas, and I don't plan on running a webinar on either Christmas Day or New Year's Day. So I'll try to do one next Wednesday. Y'all can feel sorry for me. I'll be in Colorado, but I won't ski that day. I will run a webinar for you all. I'm thinking of doing it next Wednesday on just a little bit of that layout stuff. And what else? Outlook seems to be another question a lot of you are having. So I'll probably do it on layouts in Outlook next week. With that, do I have any other questions? Someone said that that's a very functional layout. I don't know who said that, but any last chance? Any questions? Okay. If not, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always here to help you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.